to interview. Oh, I better hold on, there's a conversation going on here. Oh, you're all right, Kenny. It's all right, nobody noticed. Yeah, welcome also to the stage, Jax King. Big round of applause for Jax King. Thank you.
I'm available for one.
He's trying to upstage me, isn't he? What are you doing? I fell last week. You just trying to stop me.
Yeah, I'm just trying to steal your thunder. Well, Jax, welcome to Derby and welcome
Thank
to
you so
Whooverville.
much. How lovely to be here. Never been to Derby before. I feel so guilty that I haven't because it looks gorgeous.
It's a fantastic place and a great convention every year.
Lovely people.
Let's wind back the clock a few years. When did the acting bug bite you?
Oh, crumbs. Junior school. I think it was a production of, I think it was Alice in Wonderland and I was the Mad Hatter. It was either that or Turtle, I can't remember which. But I was the Mad Hatter. It was an all-girls school, and so I always got the boys' roles. And just hearing other girls laugh, and just going, oh, I like this. And my sister had been head girl and clever and pretty, and I thought, how do I follow that? And she got to university, and I thought, I'll never make it to university, I'm not bright enough. And so anyway, luckily, no qualifications needed. And so I followed this track. And so yes, did it all the way through. Left school early so I could take a drama A-level at a tech college. And then went to Bristol Theatre School and have acted ever since.
Bristol Old Vic is a place with an amazing reputation, isn't it?
Oh, in its day, it was superb. I think it's struggling a little bit at the moment. They've had to stop the undergraduates course, which I'm excited about because that helped us so enormously. And in my year, I'm the only one, I always say I'm the only one I've ever heard of. because in my year was Daniel Day-Lewis and Jenny Seavers, Amanda Richardson, Alex Jennings, the list goes on. It was extraordinary, a very successful year.
It's quite incredible to hear all these people coming from one place.
Yeah.
And it just shows you how important that you get the right place to train and go on and make a career.
Well, it was a very special place because it was called Bristol Vic Theatre School because they concentrated on theatre rather than telly or film. And we appreciated that because I always sort of think it's easier to make the transition from theatre to small screen than it is small screen to a theatre.
Yeah. So tell us about some of your early theatre roles, and did you ever have any chance to trip or fall on stage? What kind of film would do that?
Are you sure you're alright? Oh, I was in a murder mystery where I was knocked out by the detective as he came on, and that was intentional. And he puts me over his shoulder and carries me off. And as he was carrying me off, he slipped and fell, and we both went over the side of the stage. But we were all right. That was about the worst. Oh, one or two of those, though. Yeah, it happens.
Tell us about the life of an actor, because I'd imagine that for many of us it might get a job in, for example, the NHS or whatever, and you've got your 9 to 5, or if you're obviously doing nursing shifts at any times, but you've got that regular income. Whereas for an actor, it's never guaranteed.
There's no security whatsoever. And of course my parents were deeply worried about me and thought, crumbs, how are you going to survive? And you've got to have a second string to your bow, and you've got to be able to do this, got to be able to do that. And I kept just having this inane and ridiculous faith that no, I was going to just concentrate on acting, that's all I was going to do. And of course you inevitably do take side jobs. When I first landed in London, I got a job as a croupier in a casino. And my mum was so worried about me, going, oh no, you're in this seedy casino. And I said, no, I'm in the safest place in London because we get escorted out, and you're not allowed to talk to the clientele. It was fine, and I earned enough money in the evenings to get photographs, and in those days you had to buy your own big stack of photographs and try and get an agent, and so it was a year well spent.
Yeah.
But
Imagine that travelling around, it must be quite, there's a fun element. So you're going around the different theatres all over the country, meeting different people and working with different casts.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's that, what's next when this one's over?
Oh yeah. But I think because parents who were worried about you and friends who were concerned kept saying, what's next, what's next? It taught me to always say, I don't care what's next, I'm going to enjoy right now. And just the best, it's that quote from Jaqueline, isn't it? The best of times is now. And if you don't make the most of what you're doing at the moment, what's the point? What's the point? So I tried not to worry about it. And inevitably, there were times when you weren't working, but eventually jobs would pop up.
Mm-hmm. Of course, one of your early televisions, you got, I think it was something that one of the neighbours from up in the northeast made the comments.
Yeah, it wasn't a telly. It was my very first job, which was in Much Ado About Nothing, Shakespeare, and it had hit the news because I'd had to go on the very first day and cover an actress who was ill, and so it just became a little local story. Anyway, the people back up in Morpeth in Northumberland got to hear about that, and so as I was walking home to see my mother after this run of it, the guy who ran the local photography studio opened the door and said, "Oh, Jax, are you still murdering Shakespeare?" And I thought, okay, that's put me in my place. I'm never going to be big-headed, obviously.
Yeah, coming home's always the best way to sort you out.
Yeah, keeps you in your place.
Yeah, of course, the northeast of England, it is quite a distinct accent. And of course, you have Scots parents.
Yeah.
So, what was your accent when you were younger?
It was such a muddle. I was so full of beans that I wanted to speak 500 words in 1 second. So combine that with a mixture of Northumbrian, Glaswegian from my father, Highland from my mother, and Geordie General, because that's where I was going to school in Newcastle. I was undecipherable. No one had a clue what I was saying at all. And so poor Mum sent me to speech training lessons, and sadly I came out sounding like this. I sort of feel a little bit unidentifiable. It's a shame. I think I would rather have one accent.
Mm-hmm. But it's funny though, just when we've talked before, you just slipped into a Scots accent as easily as that.
Well, talking to you, it's inevitable.
I think that's the fascinating thing you've got to, when you're playing the parts, finding the right accent for the character that you're playing.
Yeah.
And do you often get guidance from directors, or are you left to that yourself?
Well, just recently, just a couple of weeks ago, I recorded a book called Murder Most Haunted. And when you're recording a book, you never get advice from either the producer or the writer as to how you're to read the characters. So you make it up yourself, but you use the information that's in the book. Sometimes they'll give you a clue as to where they're from or it's their name. And so one of the characters was called Bridie, and so I automatically assumed, well, this must be an Irish lady. So that's how I recorded her. Anyway, day 2, the authoress came in to listen to 20 minutes of the recording, which is always nerve-wracking. Oh no, will she like it? Will she like it? And I looked across the booth and there was tears going down her face, and I thought, well, no, she hates it. She hates it. and I finally met her in the break, and she said, no, I love it. And then she said, I never dreamt that Bridie would be Irish. It didn't occur to me. And she just said, oh, I just love it. I love having her. So there you go. It worked. Phew.
Authorial seal of approval. I'm wrong with that. Tell us about early televisions that you did.
Oh, crumbs. Well, cool. Is somebody here that showed me the photograph of Lucky Jim? Is the person here? No. Just this morning, somebody brought to the table a photograph of my very first telly. I couldn't believe it. I'm playing a barmaid. It was a very small role. And it's with N. Rytel, who was playing Lucky Jim. And I was staggered. I'd never seen this picture. My hair up in the 1960s. Buffon. Anyway, first, yes, it took me forever. To get my first telly. And it was always that age difficulty, because at theatre school I was always told, well, please would you play the 80-year-olds because you've got a deeper voice, and don't worry about it because in the business you'll be fine, you'll play your own age. And then I got my first theatre and I was playing 40, and they said, well, don't worry about it, you know, once you get telly it'll be your own age because it's close up. And my first telly finally wasn't actually Lucky Jim, sorry, the first one was Andy Robson, set in Northumberland. And I had a 16-year-old son, and I was 20 at the time. And you think, okay. But people kept saying to me, oh, things will improve as you get older. You'll sort of just get into your own skin. And touch wood, it did keep happening. I'm not sure if it's happening quite so much now. Just jobs aren't coming. Anyone out there want to employ?
Well, girls have something for a 16-year-old son.
Yeah.
It could be fun.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I suppose Doctor Who professionally came into your life for the first time in 2003 when Big Finish came a-calling, and you were in with Sir Derek Jaqueline, Deadline, and Doctor Who Unbound.
Yeah. I mean, what a treat. Lovely Nick Briggs interviewed me for the job, quite rightly. He says, since then he keeps saying, I can't believe I interviewed you, I didn't just... But of course I wasn't known, and so that was fine. I didn't mind being interviewed at all. And then he said, yes, please, I'd like you to play Derek Jaqueline's assistant. What? I was over the moon. And it was my birthday, and first day, petrified about meeting him. But he was just gorgeous. You'd probably come across him. And he was so delicious. And he got out his Times crossword and said, do you do the crossword? I said, yes. So we did it together. And it was just lovely. It was just really lovely.
You would never have imagined then what was coming in just a few years' time?
No, that was just such a shock. Especially because just before me had been two amazing mothers. And I thought, well, what do I have to offer that, you know, that they didn't bring to the table? They were just so amazing. But you've probably heard this story before, but it's just I didn't know whose mother I was going to be playing. They wouldn't tell me. And so I just went in just saying, well, I don't know what I have to offer. I love the part, I love it, but I just don't think I'm going to be anything special like the two prior mums. And then when you discover that she's as feisty as she was, you go, oh, I can get my teeth into that, that'll be fun. And then finally, when they said, oh no, you look like the girl who's going to be playing your daughter. So I'm racking my brain going, which blonde actress looks like me? And of course it wasn't a blonde actress at all.
Because of course that was originally just a one-off part when you did the Runaway Bride.
Yeah, it was just going to be the Christmas, which was heaven. I mean, how lovely was that? I was perfectly happy. Then got the phone call that Catherine wanted to do some more when I could have sent her presents from Eardle. I mean, my God, I was so thrilled. So that was great.
Of course, originally you had Howard Atfield alongside you, and sadly passed away before so much production had been done in Series 4.
That's right. He got to the read-through, and he did one scene, which is on the DVD. I think they've included his scene. And it was extremely sad. We knew he was ill. Everybody knew he had a terrible illness. But he thought he could make it. He thought he was good enough. And then just sadly, when he was in hospital, there was an incident, and he just went down very quickly. But he went down happy, if you see what I mean. Isn't that awful thing to say? That he was so happy. And I sat on the train with him going back from the first episode that we did together. And he just was a man who was so content with his life, just saying, oh, I've done what I wanted to do, and I've been in a Doctor Who now, so that's tick. And I've got a lovely family, and I'm just so happy. So I just remember that.
Yeah. It's lovely to have those memories.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they brought in another member of the family, I think it was Wilf.
Well, I mean, I've told this story before, and I'm sure I hate to repeat myself, but it's just, it was so extraordinary, that mixture of feeling sad about Howard and also respectful. So you didn't want to immediately want to be doing scenes that he was going to be doing and bounce around the place because you were working with Bernard Cribbins. So we kept our excitement very low key, and Russell rang me in just very calmly, said, oh, by the way, we're not going to replace your husband were going to replace him as your father. I said, okay. He said, it's going to be Bernard Cribbins. Okay. And just trying to sort of not go wee. It was really hard. And then we did the filming for the first day, and everyone was, as I say, just being very low-key. And then I can't remember how much time had passed. And then finally Russell was on set one day and he just nudged me and he said, do you think enough time has passed for us to be excited about working with Bernard? Yes, please. So we all started jumping up and down then. And he was just such, he was a legend, as you know, he was a total legend. And what you saw was what you got, the kindest, nicest, funniest, sweetest man.
Somebody that felt like the whole country grew up with Bernard
Yeah.
Cribbins, because we'd have been younger when he was on TV and news records.
Yeah.
And then for myself, hearing him in the Wombles and things like that, and
Yeah.
the voice of Busby and
Yeah.
the old BT adverts, and then Jaqueline and Holly.
Yeah.
Just a never present through British
Oh,
culture.
totally. And when I met my husband had just played the porter in The Railway Children on stage. And I said, yeah, there's a bit of Bernard Cribbins about you. So I think I'd obviously adored him that long.
Yeah. Of course, there were other members of the family when you were on that initial run. So tell us about Catherine.
Oh, she's just amazing. She's amazing. I mean, like you say, all these legends that you just think crumbs. And she was at the height of her fame when we did the Christmas special. And all her characters, of course, buzzing in your head, and you expect, well, which one am I going to meet? Am I going to meet, one of these, the granny or the witch character? And she's just a lovely, sincere. I mean, I know you've all met her being lively and full of fun and joking, but when she's quiet and private, just a sincere, genuinely charming person. I was honoured.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people online, in the way that fans do, overreact. Sort of like, how can you bring back this character? And then within the first 10 minutes of that episode, they're just of Harper's and Cribbins. It's like, yeah, she's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
So much depth to her and so much fun.
Oh, she just brings it all, doesn't she? My favourite scenes in Star Beast are the ones between her and David. I could watch that again and again as an acting exercise. The way the two of them bounce off each other. I mean, because they continue to work with each other on stage and on other projects, so they've got that chemistry.
David who?
Some guy. He again, we had spotted him really early on. My husband and I had seen him in the telly playing a very small role, and we had said, he's good. He just stood out a mile. And so we were thrilled when he took over. I mean, we were watching Doctor Who as fans and going, great choice. Loved him. Then I was in it. Obviously enjoyed every second of that, but couldn't watch it. Couldn't watch it beyond that. You just sort of know once you've been in it. I know this sounds terrible, but the magic's gone in a way because I don't know. I just sort of didn't feel removed enough to just get lost in it. I keep up to date just occasionally, I'll just dip in and just see how each doctor's doing. But no, I've stopped watching them full time. I mean, it's a remote couple of islands anyway, isn't it? It's all so beautifully natural. But this was a particularly remote area along a spit. And as we were driving past, we suddenly saw that the post box, those lovely American post boxes with the flag on the come up, had a Dalek on it. And we stopped and we went, oh look, it's a Dalek. And the person inside came running out and went, oh my God! Come on, you're going to have a selfie here. So we did.
That's amazing. We've talked a lot about actors and actresses, and we haven't really talked about the character of Sylvia yet, because I think to describe her as the mother-in-law from hell, that was how somebody once described her to me, and it's a bit harsh, but...
Well, mother-in-law, that's interesting, because, my first son-in-law was a devil in disguise, wasn't he? So I was quite right not to trust him. And then the second one is just gorgeous. I would like to think that my relationship with Carl, what was his character's name, Carl's?
First one,
No, the
Rance.
second one, Catherine's, sorry, Cole
Sean.
character.
Sean.
Sean, thanks, Sean, of course it was Sean. So I'd like to think that Sylvia and Sean had a lovely relationship, but as we all know, Sylvia said things as they were. She was pretty brusque, and she was on Donna's case a lot, and I've always said it was done through love. I've always said that you don't boss a child around for the sake of it. You just want the best for them, and she didn't know what was going on in Donna's life. She didn't know that Donna and Brooke were having these amazing adventures. She was kept out of the equation. So all she saw was her child struggling to get work and struggling in her first marriage. And so she was, yes, on her case, and perhaps probably too abruptly, and probably didn't give her enough praise, but she adored her.
Very much so. I think there's also the element of the caring, because she just, as you said, she wants the best for her daughter and wants to set high standards for Donna to reach, rather than knowing what she's capable of, but Donna perhaps needing that
The
little
nudge,
shove.
But I mean, in the end, Donna proved us all that she needed no shoving. She was the most capable.
Is it difficult to play scenes like that when you're working with somebody as lovely as Catherine, and then you've got to be slightly cruel to her on screen?
You don't think about that. You just think, no, we enjoy the scripts. You enjoy doing what you've been given, and Russell just writes it so beautifully. So that I would always know I'd have a gag somewhere in it. There'd be something that would make people laugh, so you sort of think, okay, I'll get away with this, hopefully. But no, you never take offence. I mean, if you have to hurt someone, obviously you make sure that it's not insensitive. But no, you're actors. You know you're acting. You get on with it.
Yeah, I just know I have to imagine, but I find it difficult to be mean to a friend.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Even just with playing.
I know what you mean, but as actors, you enjoy it. You enjoy the difference, and so you can laugh about it later. I mean, I'm always told that, if you're in the dourest play, when it's about death and starvation and torture and, everything going on stage, then they're having the best time off stage, because they have to. You have to live your life, and you have to keep your spirits up. And sometimes it's the other way around. When it's a comedy, they get pretty glum off stage.
Yeah. And then, of course, as series 4 came to an end, what a fantastic ending for Donna's first run.
Yeah.
And just that absolutely heartbreaking. She's become this amazing, brilliant person, and then it's all taken away from her.
Yeah.
And it's just, even first time I watched it, I think that was like the second time Doctor Who made me cry.
Oh.
And it was just so moving and just sort of, just brilliant.
Yeah.
I think it's Russell wrote just that final scene as David leaves and standing in the rain, just heartbreaking stuff.
Yes. Well, I learned an acting lesson there that I got so caught up in the script, because I just thought it was so beautiful, as you say, and I thought it was so wonderful, and so I let myself absolutely get caught up in the emotion, and I cried my eyes out as David was speaking. And then they turned the camera around and it was on me, and I cried so much I couldn't cry anymore. And so it got up to me, and I sort of wasn't quite producing it the same way. And you learned that lesson that you save it for your close-up.
Then, of course, you did get to appear at the end as well, just before David left.
Yeah.
At the end of time.
Yeah.
So it needs to be sort of a final lap of honour.
Yeah, it felt like that. It felt just so lucky. And the read-through was spectacular for that, because all the great and the good were... I was sitting next to David Harewood at the read-through, and Penelope Wilton, and, you name it, all the great and the good were there. I was almost got an autograph book out, but I didn't.
And then, of course, that's your initial Doctor Who run over.
Yes.
And so what happened next?
Oh, crumbs. I genuinely don't remember. You just get on with life. I mean, you as a working actor, you just carry on working. And I've put in a lot of theatre. I love theatre. I've worked a lot with Alan Ayckbourn, so I've done a lot up in Scarborough. And then other tellies. Lovely. Sorry, I'm so hopeless at names. The director of Turn Left,
Graham Harper.
Thank you so much. Graham Harper, the wonderful, brilliant, superb Graham Harper, very sweetly cast me in Coronation Street after that because we'd done Turn Left. So I did a bit of that with him. I can't remember the sequence, but yeah, John's
And of course, you got to play a Prime Minister.
Oh,
a bit
yeah.
There's a clue if you don't know who.
Yeah, Theresa May. And that was an extraordinary job because trying to learn that croak in her voice that she had, you know, that just little bit, was tricky. And I worked hard on it, and we did all the wigs, etc. And I was slimmer in those days, so looked a little bit more like her. And enjoyed the filming. We had an amazing cast. And then sadly, very sadly, the day that it was aired on TV was the day of the Grenfell disaster at the tower in Inferno. And so all the publicity that we were going to do for it on that day obviously was cancelled. And my only regret, because of course Grenfell had to take a priority, but the regret was that that programme showed the buffoonery of Boris Johnson, and the public might have learnt more about him, but sadly after that he got voted as Prime Minister.
Yeah.
I shouldn't mention politics, should I? Sorry.
Boris Johnson, my part in his downfall. And then 2022, Russell T Davies, back in the Doctor Who hot seat, and Jax, you're back in.
Below me, down with a feather. I couldn't have believed it. I was again, I'm so sorry if I'm repeating myself to people, but I was playing ping pong with my husband and another 2 people. So there was 4 of us actually in the room. And my phone went off, and normally my phone's on silent, especially when I'm playing ping pong. And but for some reason it rang, and I grabbed it and I said, "Oh, it's my agent, I'm so sorry, I'll have to take this. You always take your phone calls from your agent." And so I went off into a corner of the room where they were playing, and the agent said, "Oh, by the way, are you interested at all in coming back to Doctor Who?" What? And he said, "No, you've got to keep it secret, but yes, it's coming back, and it's 3 episodes, and you'll be in 2 of them, and it's not till May or whenever it was, and so you've got to keep it secret for, I think this was November he was ringing me." I was like, what? Okay, yes, of course I want to. So I put the phone down, and of course all 3 were saying, "Oh, what was that?" And I said, "Oh, just agent wanting to know if I wanted to go to the office and meet everyone." You know, I mean, I was just pathetic. I was desperately trying to make up fibs that sounded realistic and stop my excitement. And so didn't tell anyone. Finally, I did tell my husband. I have to admit, I did tell him. I couldn't keep it. But he was under strict instructions. I never told him the plot. I never told him anything. So that when he saw it, he loved it. So he could just absolutely enjoy the whole story and see it for the first time. But oh no, it was thrilling.
Yeah. Of course, you've done a big finish, or a few big finishes before then as well. So
Yeah, I've done quite a lot. Yeah.
Back in Sylvia, so
Yes.
given that you'd made that initial contact with Nick all those years before, it must have been really nice coming back to do them.
Oh, I mean, he's just been so generous. The whole Big Finish team have been so kind because they've asked me back as Sylvia, which is so nice, but also a million other roles. God. I was so grateful for God.
And God is Scottish.
And God is Scottish, because it's the voice of authority. I.e. my parents. and Baba Yaga with Joe, who's here today, and oh, just loads. There's so many diverse roles. I've been so lucky. Really lucky. Love it.
And of course, coming back to the specials, you got to see Bernard one last time there as well.
Yeah, he was at the read-through, and he was on fine form, even though he was in a wheelchair, but he was sharp as a pin. Like with Derek Jacobi, with Bernard, I used to do the crossword, and I had 3 to go at the read-through. And I said, "Bernard, I can't do these last 3, and I shoved them over, and within minutes, he'd done all 3. He was extraordinary. And this was the cryptic crossword. So sharp as a pin. We all went out for dinner that night, just the noble family with Bernard, with Russell. So it was a lovely last time to see him, but I was expecting to see him for one more scene, and we didn't get to film that, which was sad.
It was nice that it came to a happy ending for everyone. In fact, we've got Sylvia content with her new extended family, including a daughter incarnation in there as well. Granddaughter.
Yeah, Yasmin, whose birthday it is today. Yasmin's my granddaughter.
And again, it's that lovely message that we were chatting about earlier, just how important it is, sort of families coming together, no matter who they are.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lesson to us all, isn't it? That just love people, you know, and start with your family. Start with that, and just learn to love pretty much everybody. Try not to ever have hatred in your heart for anyone. It's such a strong and horrible word, isn't it? I think I can say hand on heart, I don't hate anyone. I don't wish harm on anyone. You know, the worst criminals in the world, okay, you want them incarcerated, you want them kept away from harming other people, but I don't wish them harm, if you see what I mean. I want them to learn, I want them to grow.
Yeah. Now, looking at the time, we've got about 50 minutes left, so why don't we open the floor and see if anyone has any questions? Put your hand up if you have a question.
This lady here.
Hang on.
What? Listen, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You're
Right.
speaking beautifully.
What's the most memorable part of Doctor Who you'll take home with you?
Oh gosh, that's so hard to answer. That's so hard because
Out of
out of all of them,
2005,
Yes.
2022
Yes.
or 23,
I understood. Did everyone hear the question? The most memorable. I mean, I genuinely feel that there's so much to take home, but I suppose the one that stands out is the episode of Turn Left, where she's at her rock bottom. I just thought that was so beautifully written, and Catherine standing in the doorway. It was heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking, and Graham Harper was just so superb at directing it, and it was just a very memorable day. Thank you for asking.
Is there somebody over there? Yes, hang on, I'll bring this over and I'm not going to fall. There we go. Thank you.
You've just partly answered it actually, Jaqueline, about, I just wanted to thank you for your performance in that episode, and that scene in particular was staggering. But one thing I just wanted to ask you is you got the opportunity to slap David Tennant. Was there any contact there, or was it all stage?
Darn it, I couldn't make contact. He's too good. He's too fast. He's such a good actor. He knows all about stage fighting. And I tried my best, but no, I couldn't reach. I tried another tactic. I just said, can I try with my left hand? And I thought I'd catch him out that way, but no.
Another one here.
Hello. Since filming The Star Beast, have you tried Tuna Madras?
Yes. we had it for real. I think I was telling somebody this morning. We had it for real on the set. They had made it, because Russell's flatmate in his university days used to make a tuna curry. I don't know whether it was called tuna madras, but it was a tuna curry. And Russell thought it was fine in his student days, but he thought it would be funny to call it tuna madras and make it into the script. So he gave the prop department the recipe as he remembered it, and they actually made it. We had this smell of the tuna curry in the set on that day. And then afterwards, we were handed the recipe. So I went home and said to my husband, well, for the sake of, life experiences, perhaps we should just try this. Worst decision of my life. It was disgusting. It had reasonable ingredients, but together. Horrible.
Next one over here.
It's just in relation to Elizabeth Sladen, obviously, during Stolen Earth and Journey's End. Do you have any moments you remember with Elizabeth Sladen while filming?
No, I'm so sorry. Our paths didn't cross at all. we met socially on the set, and she was absolutely delightful. But we weren't in anything together. We didn't work together. But she was lovely, wasn't she? Yes. I'm so sorry. I'd love to have known and experienced.
Do we have any more?
One more.
Yep, another one here.
Would you ever do Beyond the Sofa reaction to any Doctor Who episode?
Would I be petrified watching it?
It's a documentary series they put on the Blu-ray so they get Doctor Who cast members to watch old stories.
Oh, well, that sounds fun.
That's a yes then. Do you have any more?
There's a gentleman right at the back there. Kenny.
Oh, there we go.
Is there much difference between Bad Wolf Studios and the places you filmed before? Is there much of an upgrade? Or?
Oh yes, I mean the vastness of the. Did everyone hear the question? Just the difference between the set and it was vast when Disney took over. I think suddenly the budget went up, and so the money on. I mean the noble house, the house that Donna owned was virtually full scale inside a hangar. And well, it was full scale. It was huge. And combined, they did this whole attic set in there as well. And so yes, I mean that was extraordinary. Whereas the first series, you'd have to film in situ. You very rarely had sets of those dimensions. There just wasn't the budget for it. So we were in real houses. Very hard to blow up real houses.
Do we have any more? Get your step kicked up. Just walk around this. So what was it like working with actually having monsters in your house? Because that's something you hadn't particularly had direct contact with things previously, but here you've got these great big Rarth warriors stomping around.
No, they were extraordinary, and the poor actors playing them. Have you met them? I mean, these are tall gentlemen anyway, and then they're on these huge stilt-like bendy blades, and their enormous claw hand, and there was no way they were being able to get out and in of this costume all day, so they had to virtually stay in that all day. And because it covered their faces, it wasn't until, and I would talk to them and say hello and how are you doing, and we'd have a chat, but it wasn't until we met at the screening at the Battersea Power Station that one of them had to come up and say, I was one of the Roth Warriors, you know, because you don't know what I look like. And we met virtually face to face for the first time. Yeah, no, that was lovely. And then the Meep, played by this poor lady who, oh, is it near time? And this poor lady who was boiling hot in that costume. Poor thing. And so the head of the Meep kept coming off, and the fan attached to her poor beetroot face while she was cooling down.
But you had a great time, didn't you, going to those premieres at Battersea?
That was gorgeous. Oh, we loved that. We had popcorn in a TARDIS box. We had jelly babies in a Doctor Who bag. We had cocktails with sparkly stardust in them. Oh, it felt just so swanky. It was great fun.
How does your husband feel about this mad world?
I mean, he's very supportive. He's an actor, so he does understand it. But he hasn't done, you know, a telly that has got so much attention. He's done a great deal of theatre, and so he to me is the real superb actor. He's incredible. Yeah, I know he loved the screening of Star Beast. He just loved that. I've never seen his tail wag so much. And he giggled a lot, which is great. And so that I think, because as I said, I hadn't told him about the script, I think that was a real true indicator to me. I mean, I thought it was brilliant anyway, but it was just so lovely to watch his reaction and go, oh, this is good, isn't it? It's making him really giggle.
I suppose that's one of the lovely things, is that you can share that experience with him. It's that personal thing, is you've done your work and you can actually have this extended world, and you can bring them into it a wee bit like that,
Yeah.
and just bring a bit of joy even. And also, it's a damn good night out on somebody else's expense.
What's that?
So Jax, we were chatting earlier, and you've been recording some audiobooks lately.
Yeah, yeah. I've recorded books right from the beginning of my career. I've actually recorded over 300 unabridged books, and for about 8 years I did very little else, and I loved it. It was a great job because you get to be everybody, and it doesn't matter what you look like, and you can play the lead character, and she could be stunning and young and athletic, and it doesn't matter, you're playing her. So I've loved doing books, but for those 8 years that I was just doing them, I got pretty lonely, because it's a lonely job. There's you and a sound engineer, and you're on your own doing your own research, you're making all the decisions artistically, and it's a big responsibility. And so finally, when I started getting back to theatre and telly, I was a happier person. But then the grass is always greener, isn't it? It had been a long time since I'd done some books, and so I was thrilled to do these two this year. It was great fun, especially as they were murder mysteries. Love those.
Brilliant. Well, I think we say a great big thank you to our queen, Jaqueline King.